At Heritage, we run to the gunfire. And so when there is tension inside the conservative movement, we want to help reconcile that. And there are, roughly speaking, three groups of people on the right who are confused by the president's tariffs. One group, a very virtuous group, business people, friends of ours, who just generally have this knee-jerk reaction to tariffs because Republican presidents haven't used them. They're going to eventually get on board because they're going to see that if particularly the tariffs are reciprocal, they're going to work after a quarter or two of economic choppiness. But then there's a group who are really doctrinaire, good people, but they don't yet understand that we live in a different moment, that 2025 is different than it was in 1985, that we have seen, if you're born after 1990, the likelihood of a married couple being able to afford a home, a reasonable home, is almost impossible, particularly in places like Washington, D.C. And what Trump and Vance are trying to do is to initiate this reform that over a generation, over 25 or 30 years, makes possible the American dream again. Limited targeted tariffs are one tool that's part of that. But then it's the last group, and it's a very vocal group, but it's also a group that I think probably is ill-intentioned. They refuse. They refuse, in spite of data, in spite of the expertise of Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, saying this is all going to work out, to even entertain the notion that we should look at data objectively, put dogma and ideology off to the side, and say this is a moment where we ought to trust the leadership of this president and his team and see where we are in 6 months or 12 months. I think if we could get them to just look at the data, that a year from now, if we're sitting here, we'd be pretty optimistic.